Hello and welcome to this second video on profit, loss and discount. In this video, I'll specifically deal with the problems of faulty weights or dishonest shopkeepers, which you'll frequently see in many aptitude exams. We'll also discuss and take a question on overall profit or gain percentage on the entire transaction when there are 2-3 things happening. So let's get started. First, I would like you to focus on the concept that really revolves around this faulty weight problem. So for example, if I'm a shopkeeper and let's say somebody comes and buys, let's say, pulses, right? And let's say somebody wants 1 kg of pulses, and what I have is that the weight is faulty, and what I end up giving is I end up giving 900 grams. Now in this case, what will happen obviously is that I will make additional profit. So that's your faulty weight concept. The dishonest shopkeeper concept is, so this is unintentional, right? The dishonest shopkeeper one is the problem where the shopkeeper is dishonest and he actually gives you, or the machine is in such a way that it doesn't give you the right measure. So for example, if I profess to sell that, okay, I sell you at cost price. So let's say my cost price is 1000 grams and I actually sell you 800 grams worth of the material, right? So what will happen is obviously I am gaining this extra 200 grams on each of this transaction, right? So this is really the concept of faulty weights of shopkeeper. Now, how do we apply this in problems? So what will happen is, remember our important concept of SP upon CP, which we have used in our previous video also, and we will use this in all profit loss questions. That means remember this ratio, right? SP upon CP. This is a very important ratio. Now let's take the example where the machine is not working properly and it gives 750 grams actually quantity, but it shows that this is 1000 grams, right? So what will happen is, imagine the case where 1 gram of the quantity is for 1 rupee, right? So what will happen is that the cost price, that means how much did I get that thing for? Let's say the cost is actually 750 grams because I'm selling 750 grams. But what is happening is, this is my cost, but what is happening is I am giving the person and charging him for 1000 grams, right? So ultimately this is the ratio of SP to CP. That means what will be my ratio in this case? Obviously this is 4/3, and 4/3 meaning what? Your profit is SP is greater than CP, so that means 1/3 or 33.33% is the profit that you incur. Now this is the simple concept. Sometimes what they may do is, they, in order to complicate the problem, they may also include other things like markup, right? They may also include concepts like discount. So ultimately it could be a mix of faulty weights plus marking up and discounting, and they will say, okay, what is the final total effect, right? So what will be the total effect on the on that particular situation? So what will happen is, let's say they say there's something marked up by 10%, and there is also a discount of, let's say, 10% on the transaction, but there is a faulty weight, and the faulty weight basically shows for 800 grams it shows, let's say, 1000 grams. So ultimately what will be the effect that will come? We will write always in SP upon CP format, right? Always remember. So the effect would be what? Marking a price. So let's say 10%. So obviously this we know. That means how we will write it as 11/10, right? CP, 10% markup on that, into the discount. Discount is also, let's say, 10%. So that means discount again your, let's say, 9/10, right? And what he is saying is, that means something that is worth value of 10 rupees, but you're giving 10% discount, which is 9. And your faulty weight problem meaning what? Meaning you're charging the person for 1000, right, which is your SP, and your cost price is actually only 800. So you can actually write it 10/8, but anyways in this case I've written this. So now what will happen? Now let's say these two 0 gone, right, and this 0 goes here, so it will eventually be 11 into 9, 99 upon 10 into 8, 80, right? That means this would actually be your profit. You can make this 100 also, right? How can you make that? As you can multiply 5 by 4, 5 by 4, or basically you can calculate that your 19 upon 80 is your actually profit percentage, right? This is how you can calculate. So this is the cumulative effect. Sometimes there could be only two things, let's say faulty balance plus discount or faulty balance plus markup. Now let's attempt a few questions to take this ahead. Okay, a shopkeeper professes to sell his goods at cost price but uses a weight of 900 grams for 1 kg. So let's say it says 1 kg but it's actually 900 grams, right? The weight that he's using. So now what will happen is that let's assume 1 gram is for 1 rupee. Okay, so in this case we will write in the SP by CP format. So what will happen is that my cost price would be, because I'm giving him 900 grams and I'm saying I'm selling you at cost price. So my cost price is again 900 and I'm selling you at what? I am giving you 1 kg because so I'll say this is 1 kg and I'll charge you for 1 kg. That means 1000 grams. So ultimately what will happen? This is 10 by 9. If SP by CP is 10 by 9, that means obviously your profit is 1 by 9, right? And 1 by 9 we know in percentage terms is nothing but 11.11. Okay, so let's look at another problem. A trader marks up his goods. Okay, now he's marking up his goods and he's also using a faulty balance. And how much is the faulty balance? 800 grams instead of a kg. If his total profit is 50%, what is his markup percentage? Okay, now we already learned that what you do here is that you will say here your markup, right, into what? Into your faulty balance effect, right? And this will be the total effect, right? And total effect is how much? 50%, right? Total profit, correct? So what will happen in this case? The markup is, let's say markup is X into faulty balance is how much? 800 grams instead of a kg. Now please understand this, we will write it in SP by CP form. That means what? That means I am giving you worth 1 kg which is 1000 grams and I'm charging my cost price is how much? Only 800, right? That means 800 worth I'm giving you at 1000 rupees. Now this equals to total profit of 50%. Again 50% we know how we can write it as. We can write it as 3 by 2, right? So let's write it as 3 by 2. Now these 2 0 gone here, or your X becomes how much? Your 3 into 8, 24 upon 20, right? Apply 24 by 20 into 5 also. So if you multiply this 5, this will 2500, 120 upon 100. So now this is easy for you to compare, saying that okay, there's a 20% markup. Okay, next, a trader marks up his goods by 20%, also uses a faulty balance of 400 grams instead of 500 grams. If he gives a discount of 40%, what is his profit or loss percentage? That means three things are happening. First, he says he marks up his goods by 20%. So how will I represent 20%? I will say this is 6 by 5. Now please understand the fractions, right? So we are using that same thing. Faulty balance of how much? 400 grams instead of 5. That means I can write it as 5 by 4, or basically 500 grams I'm giving at the cost of 400 grams, which is nothing but 5 by 4, into a discount of 40%. Discount 40% meaning, how can I write this as? I can write this as 6 by 10. So he's saying what is his profit or loss percentage? Now this is very simple. 5 cancelled. 6 into 6, 36. So I can say 36 upon 40, right? 4 into 10, or I can say 4 into 9, 36. So this is 9 by 10, and this is in which format? This is your SP upon CP. That means you are incurring what? You are incurring a loss, and loss of how much? 1 by 10, which is 10%. So what would be answer? Option D. Okay. Now, so we are done with faulty weights problem. We'll look at this last problem for today, and in this case there are sometimes questions on the entire transaction, what happens. So let's see what the question says. some goods are purchased at rupees 450. Okay, total transaction purchased at 450. Okay, goods. 1/3 is sold at a loss of 10%. So what I'll do is, in this case, I will assume that, let's say 450, and how much quantity you had, let's say you had 450 grams, right? And this is 450 rupees. Why? Because I want to simplify my calculation. So what he's saying is 1/3 is sold at 10% profit. Okay, now 1/3 meaning 150 grams is one side and 300 grams is one side, right? This is for 150 rupees and this is for 300 rupees, right? Now he's saying this is sold at 10% loss. That means this 150 grams I would be selling at 10% loss, meaning I get 135 rupees here. At what profit should I sell this for? That means at what profit should I sell this for, so that the remainder, so as to gain 20% on the entire transaction. Now 20% on the entire transaction meaning this is my cost price, right? So that means 20% would be 45 into 290, right? That means 450 plus 90, so 540 would be after 20% this thing. That means my SP should be actually 540. But what is my SP so far? 135 plus this. So what should be this so that this totals 540? Obviously you can subtract 135 from this 540. So this becomes how much? This becomes your 405. That means this 300 worth of thing I should sell it for 405 in order to make 20% on the entire transaction. So that means what will be my what should I charge profit here? I am charging 105 on how much? On 300, which is nothing but, if you do the math, this is obviously your 35%, right? That means 30 is 10%, so 30% would be again 90 plus 15, right? So this should be your 35%. So with this question we end the profit, loss and discount chapter, and I think you should be now feeling very confident of applying this new approach which I have told you, SP by CP form. And this, I promise you, if you practice a lot of questions on this, you can attempt these questions in 10 to 15 seconds. So thanks for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.